Good morning all. I think the last time I left off I was talking about installing the windows and the issue of having them far enough away from any internal upright support so that you don't prevent the straight frame of these polyvision windows flattening out the steel. That's worked really well. No issues at all. No warping. They turned out really well. We've also put some what do you call that stuff? Wrap, some matte black wrap on the recesses, on the flat areas. That went quite well. I had one full start on the other side that I had to redo. The first one I had to completely redo. I had plastic on the inside after the cutout. I put plastic on the inside. I had the plastic there to prevent any cuttings from falling down into the van, and then when I put the wrap over the top, it stuck to the plastic and meant that I couldn't move it at all. So I had to get rid of that one, take the plastic off, and then with magnets, I held the. I'll just show you a magnet. I held the wrap in place with little magnets covered in felt. So cut the wrap to size without peeling the back off, held it in place with the magnets at the top then, so I was quite happy with it, and then peeled the back off. I did use a little bit of fairy liquid in some water to spray the panel first, because I'm not that good at it and I wasn't quite confident with my placing, and the fairy liquid and water just allowed me a little bit of movement, and as they're flat panels it wasn't too bad. One tip I would say is to use a lot of pressure when you're putting these on. I used a felt clad one of these filling knives you get out of smoothing plastic knives you get out of 2 component filler tubs, and I just used a bit of felt wrapped around that, and then started from the center and moved out slowly. I would say you need probably more pressure than you think, because if you don't push all the air out of the air channels that's underneath the plastic, and you go over it with a heat gun afterwards, you will see that you'll get little bubbles come up where you haven't pushed all the air out. So you need a lot more force than you think. You can see here where I hadn't put enough force, and I went over it with a heat gun, and some bubbles came up, and I just had to pierce them with a pin or something, and then they almost disappeared immediately. So yeah, I think it looks really good. It's not perfect. There are some corners which have come away, but I didn't expect it to be perfect. It's the first time I've done it, but pretty pleased. Now, when putting the polyvision windows in, I'll come back to this spray insulation later. On the inside of the frame of the polyvisions, there is this channel here in which the screws screw into. I would suggest using a small pilot drill and just pre-drilling through this channel, just to give you a start, because it's a bit of a pain when you come to line up the screws and you've got the frame in the way. it's sometimes a bit difficult, and then you need to use quite a lot of force to get the screw to bite into the self-tapping screw to bite into this channel. So a little pre-drilled screw, not too big, is a help. And then yeah, put all the brackets in order. As I say, I'll come back to my spray insulation on another video. They work quite well. I'm not sure that I've gone through showing you the composting toilet. This is a toilet separator that I've made. It's a plywood frame, basically, top, back, bottom, and sides up to here, and then a brace at the front. And I got this copper from a scrap metal merchant. It's sort of some sort of finish to copper sheet. I don't know exactly what it is, but anyway, just bonded that, bent it over at the back, a few pins through the back, bonded it, wrapped it round, all the way around, and then pinned it again at the back. Then after that, I used Flow Coat, which is like a gel coat for fiberglass, but it's called Flow Coat. And there's a primer you paint onto the plywood first. Don't let the primer dry too much. I did, it was a mistake. You sort of got to put the primer on, and then you've got to put your Flow Coat on within a few hours. Otherwise the primer dries too hard, you don't get quite the bonding that you should. But it's turned out okay. So you've got the bottle for the urine there. This is a bucket for your poo, which will have a composting bag in it. The whole of the inside has been flow coated, so that's really easy to, very durable, really easy to clean, nice and sanitary, as well as the back and the bottom as well, all with this flow coat. So the idea is, it's a bit noisy, isn't it? You do your business, urine goes in the front, poo goes in the back. When the lid's down, it just looks like a normal toilet, almost. It works really well, separates easily, and then a bit of sawdust or something, there's lots of different stuff you can use, sprinkle in the back, close the lid, and with this hose, and it's a little computer fan I think in there, there'll be a hole through the back, that'll go on there, that'll be running constantly. The tube, the end of the tube will go onto an outlet that goes down underneath the van, so pulling the air through the unit constantly, drying out the feces, which is about 75% water anyway, so you end up with far less volume and less weight than just normal poo. And then dispose of the compost bags wherever you feel fit. The urine, as long as it's, you can tip it down a toilet, take it to the, if you're at a campsite or you're passing somewhere, take it to a public toilet and tip it down the toilet and flush it away. Or if you're in the middle of the nowhere, you can just sprinkle it in the bushes or a tree, as long as you're far enough away from a water course. There are some regulations which you need to abide by. Anyway, that's the toilet. Oh, it is also on rails, so the toilet will slide out into the shower area from underneath a cupboard. So when you want to shower, you slide it away. I think the shower wall comes to about there, and you've got more room to shower. If you want the toilet, you go in there, pull it out, and then you can use it. There will be some way of securing it, obviously, because in the event of sharp stopping, you don't want it flying forward, so there will have to be some way of securing it. That's it for this video. I shall come back and talk about the floor, the insulation, the floor battening and the flooring I'm using, and go through the insulation, which was fun. Cheers.